Welcome to The Rant. I'm your host, Herman James, and on today's episode, we're going to be talking about COVID and STDs. This part of the podcast is brought to you by Libsyn. Are you looking to start a podcast or want to know where to move your podcast to get the best possible outcome? Libsyn is the top-rated host for your podcast. Use promo code HERMAN for your first month free.
This podcast is brought to you by the Deluxe Edition Network. To find more great shows on our network, head over to theden.show.
Thank you for joining. Thank you for participating, sharing, doing everything you've done to help keep this podcast and this hodgepodge of therapeutic rants I do active and live and thriving on the interwebs and everywhere you're hearing this podcast. As the intro said, this episode is going to be about COVID, Omicron, Delta, whatever variant name we're on now or whatever the hell people want to call it. And the comparison between people's mentality of COVID, how they approach it, how they try to prevent themselves from getting it or not prevent themselves from getting it, and how they also approach the same thing with STDs. I know that sounds odd, maybe a little bit weird, but hold on and try to keep up with me on this one. People that are single and ready to mingle, or even if you're a swinger or in an open relationship or whatever it is where you are having sex with someone you may not know that well, or that may be having sex with other people at the same time or when they're not sleeping with you. Most people are cognizant of that scenario and what goes into all of that. So you know that if you are going to go out on a sexcapade, you are going to need to want to be safe and protected. Whether that means you are going to bring condoms, be on birth control, have an IUD, have penicillin in your medicine cabinet, Plan B pill, something, you've prepared yourself for what could be an outcome. You don't know what would happen, but you know what could happen. And that's the point, is you're also not willing to go out with someone that's actively told you they currently have herpes. And they are having an outbreak right there. That would turn most people off. Cold sores on people's mouths give you an indication if they have oral herpes or genital herpes, things of that nature. I'm not a doctor, we know this. But if you had the mentality of what a majority of people in this country have about COVID and the Omicron, whatever the hell it's called, variant right now, and you take that same mentality and apply it to STDs, the whole, fuck it, I'm just going to get it and get it over with. That way I don't have to worry about it anymore. Same idea with herpes. If you're worried about getting herpes, just go out and get it now so you don't have to worry about it later. And I can hear people already saying, it's not the same thing. Herpes and STDs are things we know about, and we have preventative medicine that's been tested, and there's history on this, and blah, 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 blah. The same thing, same mentality should be applied to the COVID vaccinations. They have been tested for over a decade. They're just now being implemented. Why? Because big business, big pharma, and the government were having a hard time transitioning out of what was already a money-making vaccination system. Everyone can acknowledge that. they were having a hard time finding anything that was going to beat this COVID variant that we got in 2019. Now they're able to produce things that are not only able to beat this, but are able to be adapted to new strands, to no longer have to do years and years and years of research to find one vaccine that can cure one thing. This same vaccine can be adapted to actually cure different variants and move on. mRNA vaccines are built to do that. That's what they're for. Don't do Facebook research. Do actual research. Look at medical journals. Look at things that have been published. Look at all of that information. Don't look at your neighbor's bullshit Facebook page or the Joe Rogan bullshit of when he gets called out for being wrong and then still says he's right. When medical professionals, people that have been doing this for decades, are telling you what to expect and what to understand, and they tell you where they don't understand things, where they're still figuring it out. But Joe Rogan knows the answer? Get the fuck out of here. The idea that people are willing to jeopardize their health and others' health just to, quote, get it and get over with it is ridiculous. That is not the mentality we should be playing with right now when we don't know the long-term effects of what these strands have been giving to people. This COVID fog, impotence, yeah. These are things that have been long-standing side effects of COVID. People that have the vaccine are still having these issues. They're also having no sense of smell, which goes to the no sense of taste. These are things that are staying with there. Do you really want to just go get it and figure it out? It's not like chicken pox, where you're just going to itch for a few days and then it's gone and then you're immunized from it from a while. It's not the same idea. Does everyone remember the people at the beginning of the COVID fucking outbreak that were going around licking toilet seats? First off, that's a bad idea in general. Don't lick toilet seats. Just because it's on TikTok doesn't mean you should do it. That's fucking stupid. Those same people that were going out and doing all that crap all got COVID. I'm sure there's probably a few of them that actually died. I'm also sure that they were young and dumb enough where their body was able to fight it off. Who's to say that they weren't asymptomatic and gave it to someone else they know or even someone that they don't know? Because there's not been great contact tracing in this country. The mentality of, let's just get it and move on, or the mentality of, hey, there was an outbreak in this store, in this office, in this facility. But shh, we can't tell anybody because that's going to make us look bad and that's going to affect my bottom line. If I don't have people coming in and buying things or coming into work, I can't make money. So let's just not tell anyone. Do we all remember what the CDC and the government was telling people as this was unrolling in 2019 and early 2020? If you have symptoms, if you have caught it, call. Let the facilities know, let the people know that you were around, that you have it. If you're going to let the people around you know and the facilities you were at know, why does the buck stop there? Why is it that those facilities, those retail stores, those chains, those restaurants, whatever it might be, why are they able to say, I'm not going to tell anybody because if I tell everyone, that's going to cause hysteria and then I'm not going to have clientele coming because they're scared. You're fucking right. People are going to be scared. But you know what they're going to also appreciate? They're going to appreciate the fact that you are ahead of it. Where you can say, hey, Bob was here yesterday. He had no symptoms, but today he tested positive for COVID, and now he's got the shakes and the shits and whatever he might have. Okay, you let the public know. The public will be scared of being there for a few days, but if they realize that the people that are still there don't have any symptoms, they can also know if they were there in that time frame and they have symptoms, that they could also have the possibility of having COVID. It's an uncomfortable conversation to have. It is not fun for anyone to do, but I think it is a requirement just out of fucking common decency to be able to do that and make that call. Do you want to receive a call that you were out sleeping around with Tiffany from the bar last night and she calls you and says, "Oh, we got drunk and I forgot to tell you I have herpes"? Imagine that call coming in. Now, most people that are vaccinated are able to get over COVID. Most aren't going to have long-term COVID and long-term symptoms, and that's great. You're not going to have an issue where herpes is around for a long time and never going to go away, and then you have to make that phone call. But if you get COVID from someone and then they don't tell you, and then you're around someone else, you're going to have to call them. If you're contracting herpes from someone else and they don't tell you, and then a month later you find out you have herpes, but you've been with 2 or 3 other people since then, you have to make that call too. So why is it that an STD for most people is scarier to contract and get, and you'll take preventative measures to make sure you don't get that? Condoms and whatnot. But COVID, that can kill the unvaccinated people, the majority of which who are unvaccinated because they don't trust the science. I want to do my own research. Joe Rogan said take horse paste. Oh, it's big government telling me what to do. I'm not going to do that. Oh, there's different medicines that I can take that just beat COVID. I'm okay with it. There are people out there willing to roll the dice. Do you want to be that person that gives them COVID? And if they die from it, you're responsible for that? Because you gave it to someone. Yes, it is both of your fault. Them not for getting a free vaccination to prevent it, and yours for passing it along willingly. Not wearing a mask in public in mass groups of people. It's your choice not to do that. It's your choice to do it. Yes, there are rules and regulations stating you have to. There's no legal enforcement out there saying do it or get a ticket, do it or go to jail. The same country that is all about capitalism and free choice and the company's right to regulate is against all of that when the company regulates you. I don't understand why I have to wear a mask to the restaurant table, but then at the table I don't have to wear a mask. Let's just put restaurant tables and schools and there the COVID solved. I figured it out. That's great. Yep. Brilliant. You don't understand that the tables are supposed to be spread out a certain amount of footage. Granted, most of them aren't. And the fact that there are droplets in the air that you would be walking through, the ventilation systems are supposed to be higher quality to be able to be doing this or outdoors. There's multiple factors that go into everything that people are trying to do. Companies are trying to stay afloat and stay in business. A lot have not been able to. And you know what? It's because people's free choice. People chose not to get vaccinated. People chose not to wear a mask. You know what people didn't choose not to do? Not to participate in events and in businesses and patronizing them when you don't like how they're regulating things. Restaurants have staff that are wearing masks to do everything. And you're pissed off that you have to have a mask to walk to a table. If you want to fucking eat there, put a mask on. Go to the table, enjoy your food. If you want to just bitch and piss and moan, then don't go. Find a company that meets your parameters for your mental stability that you want to go there. The people that don't wear masks, don't require mandates for vaccinations, don't require people to wear gloves, don't require anything at all. You just got to go there. And when you get COVID for being there, you can't be mad at that facility or those people while you're sitting in an isolation room, shivering because your whole body has chills. You've got aches and migraines. You can't fully breathe. You don't get to blame other people because you chose not to participate in what everyone else is trying to do. Back to the overarching idea. If we treated COVID like you do STDs, everyone would have an STD. Oh, it's not a big deal. I'm just going to go out and get crabs now because I don't want to wear protection. It's okay. I'm going to go out and get herpes. I don't know who's got it, but I don't want to wear a condom, so I'm going to do this because you can't tell me what to do with my body, my choice. Except for women's reproductive rights. Not their body, not their choice, but old white men got to make that regulation for people, right? But I digress. If you knew someone was out hoeing it up, sleeping with anyone and everyone that they wanted to, and there's a good possibility, the fact that they don't use any sort of birth control, they have multiple partners a week, a day, and you know that, you're gonna question that person. You're gonna question sharing a drink with that person. But are you going to sleep with that person and have unprotected sex with them willingly, knowing everything involved in it? And if your answer is yes, or it depends what they look like, okay, then you deserve what comes to you. If you get the clap, if you get herpes, if you get anything that comes along with that risk, fine. But if you contract a virus and you willingly give that to somebody else, like the AIDS epidemic, you can and will be legally liable for everything you have done because you willfully transmitted a disease to innocent bystanders. Just like that, people that willingly participate in unmasked events where they can contract COVID because they want to get it over with and then willingly go out unmasked after they know they've been tested positive, like getting on a plane and going to Vegas maybe, should also legally be liable for everything that they're doing. Essentially, chemical warfare. You are willfully participating in events that is going to give someone a disease that could potentially be life-threatening, if not to them, to someone they're around that you don't even know. If you or your business does not want to participate in proper protocols to maintain a healthy facility, then fucking don't do it. But you should have the decency to post that on your door, on your website, on your Yelp, whatever it is you use to promote your company. And if you, as a person, do not want to participate in a functional society for preventative measures to not give a life-threatening airborne disease to others. Make sure people know. You know how they know? Your fucking MAGA hat. That's right. This whole lemmings community that followed an idiot, a complete idiot, who did nothing but troll people in the community, who would just decide a policy by round of applause. That's how leaders work. That's how we fucking vote for people in. That's how we keep them in fucking power. Oh, you don't like it? Let's get a coup. Let's get them behind people. This same fucking idiot is now telling people, oh, you should get the vaccine. It's beautiful. I'm boosted. Don't say no. And gets booed. Why? Because it's been ingrained in everybody, in everyone's brain and mental fucking orifice, that preventative measures are big brother. You have to have your kids vaccinated to go to school, in public schools that everyone wants to get into. A, because it's free fucking childcare, and B, because children deserve an education. But those people that don't want to get their kids vaccinated because they're listening to some bullshit that's not true from, 20, 30, 40 years ago, that said vaccines cause autism, which was redacted and then told that it was incorrect. Let's not follow the science. Let's follow the Joe Rogans of the world. And let's follow them. I'm not saying to follow me blindly. Fact check everything I say. Use medical journals. Use peer reviews. Published scientific factual evidence. Not Fox. Not OEN or OAN, whatever the fuck it's called. Use actual research. And the companies and the people that don't want to participate in making sure people don't die or don't get infected, put it out there. Brand yourself that way. Because you know what's going to happen? People that come to your facility or your house and consistently contract a virus that is putting them out for weeks, word's gonna get out. People are going to know. Social media is everywhere. Social media is what's causing this pandemic, this epidemic, to last for as long as it did. This did not go on when we had SARS or bird flu or Zika or smallpox. It wasn't a thing, but now misinformation's rampant. But you know what? If someone catches COVID at your house or at your facility and dies, or they give someone that dies, trust me, social media is going to find out. The news is going to find out, and you will find out when you have no one there anymore. No patrons, no public, nothing, and no money, because you made that free choice. Don't put your free choices and the dilemmas you choose to be in on someone else that didn't choose that. That's not right, that's not fair, and you should be legally responsible. Well, looks like that's all the time I've got for this episode. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Thank you for participating in this podcast experiment that I've been doing for the past 4 years, man. It's crazy. COVID's really jacked up my time frame on what's going on. But please make sure to check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/TheHermanJames. Doing a bunch of stupid DIY videos on there. It's fun for me to put out there and give anyone else the understanding that if my dumbass can do it, you probably can too. Check out TheHermanJames.com for all past episodes, past YouTube events, and check out The Den at theden.show for more independent podcast genius episodes and series just like this. Thanks for being here, and I can't wait to be here next time.